Hey, house guests, welcome to today's Big Brother 22 updates and spoilers. Oh my god. I, I don't even know how I'm going to summon the energy for this spoiler. I mean, I'm sure most of you know by now that there was a big blow up last night. I'm just like, it was a lot, but we'll get to it. But anyway, I want to thank you all so much for coming today. We're going to try and have a good time still, right? But we got important issues to talk about. So I want to start by thanking our house guests of the day. Our house guests of the day today are Mary Gregoire and Carol Bless. Thank you all so much for the support. You are amazing, and we could not do this without you. So thank you so much. And if you guys want to be house guests of the day, check out our Patreon link in the info box below. And I also want to thank our super chatters from yesterday because you guys are amazing. So we've got Jefferson Tucker, She Sees Stars, Sheena123, S. Dean, Books and Quirks, Kathleen Marie, and Farrell Spee. Thank you so much. You really are amazing, and we really couldn't do it without you, so thank you so much. And I want to thank today's super chatter so far, Jody Cortez, Thrifty Babes, and Smouth Dude Smooth. Thank you so much. All right. Serenity now. Okay, I'm sorry. Like, this fight just got me so upset and like angry and like all the emotions at once. So anyway, when we left off yesterday, they had the power veto ceremony, and we saw Christmas did not use the power veto, which means that Davon and Bailey remain up on the block. My question here, okay, so why did Tyler and Christmas not make it clear to Davon and Bailey that the veto was not going to be used? Because Tyler had obviously already heard from the diary room that he's not allowed to like ask to be nominated and ask them to vote him out. And Christmas knew that she was not going to use the veto and put him up on the block. So why continue to lead Davon and Bailey on and not tell them, look, it's not happening. I'm sorry. And Christmas uses the excuse like, it's in the rules. I'm not allowed to say what I'm going to do. That's bullshit. It's a bullshit excuse because people, even if that is technically a rule, people do not follow that rule. Are you freaking kidding me? And there's so many ways to get around it by being like, I don't think I'm going to use it or something like that. But it's a little ridiculous. So then another thing, Tyler was going over Bailey's speech with her right before the ceremony, knowing that he wasn't going to be going up on the block. And he's like helping her to craft this speech. And she's asking him like, is this okay? Is this okay? Really? So I feel like he was being genuine and saying like, I want to go up and go out. And maybe he was just using the whole, like, I want to be an ally to you guys for Black Lives Matter as like an extra bonus. I think he just wanted to leave. But then, and that's all fine. I think he was genuine about it. But then I don't think he handled it well after he found out that he could not do that. Why not tell them, right? Why not tell them? It's messed up to me. But anyway, the feeds come back after the ceremony, and Davon and Bailey are sitting in the nomination chairs. And Bailey is crying, saying, I'm so disappointed. My heart is broken. And Day says, we knew that this was a possibility. She doesn't get what Christmas's angle is. She doesn't get why she didn't take, Tyler offering up his game on a silver platter. She doesn't realize that Tyler is Christmas's untouchable. And apparently Christmas said in her POV speech that she didn't want to get caught in the crossfire. And Davon's like, crossfire of what? Like, what is she talking about? So then Day and Bay are talking about Tyler. And Davon's like, did he make you feel like Christmas wasn't going to use the veto when you talked to him? And Bailey's like, no. He said that Christmas wouldn't even tell him if she was going to use it, which is bullshit. Come on. So they agree. Tyler's not really looking sad right now for somebody who wanted to go home and just lost his opportunity to do that. Right? So Bailey's wondering, was this all a trap? I feel like I've been played again. And I don't think that it is a trap. I think, again, he was being genuine, and he found out that he couldn't do it, but he should have told them, right? But he didn't. So anyway, meanwhile, Christmas is talking to Ian in the backyard, and she's like, what would you have done if Bailey told you that Day was her untouchable? I'm so sick of the word untouchable, and I know we're nowhere near the end of this word, and it's just killing me that I have to keep saying it. So then Christmas is talking about things that are not her style in this game. Backdooring, not her style. I seem to remember her backdooring people on season 19, but okay. Doing other people's dirty work, not her style. Getting in the middle of other people's situations, not her style. So 2 out of the 3 things that she's talking about not being her style, she has done this week. Not doing other people's dirty work? What have Day and Bay done? Like, why would she be targeting them for her own personal game? She's doing other people's dirty work and not getting in the middle of other people's situations. Did you have a situation with Day and Bay? No. Okay, so anyway, again, she's saying that Davon is only nominated this week because Bailey named her as her untouchable. So she just had to put the 2 up together. And she says, I tried to hug Bailey after the power veto ceremony, and she didn't want it. Why would she? She doesn't owe you a hug. So anyway, then Tyler and Cody were sitting outside with Christmas, and it sounds like Bailey asked Christmas again during the power veto ceremony, do you want to name your untouchable now? And Christmas was just like, no, and put the veto in the box. Ah! Okay, so yeah, moving on. Day comes outside and asks Christmas to go and chat, so they go into the lounge to talk, and Day asks, what happened? You know, I told you that I would not have the votes to stay if I'm up against Bailey on the block. So why am I still up against Bailey on the block if you want me to stay? And Christmas is like, I don't think that's true. Like, I think you'd have the votes. And she says, I can't put myself in the crossfire for somebody else's situation. This would absolutely destroy my place in the game. Which, I mean, it would mess her up because Tyler is her number 1. But Tyler asked her to go. It's not like they were trying to throw him under the bus. He asked her to put him up. So anyway, Christmas says, it would look like I don't know what I'm doing. I put her up because of what she said to me, not because of what Tyler has done. And she says, if Bailey wants Tyler out, she's going to have to do that. That's not my job. And she's like, yeah, he's a huge player, but he hasn't done anything to me. So then Christmas says to Davon, I am your ally. I'm going to work for you this week. I want to prove to you that I want you here. And she says, the girls have you. We're in this. So she's referring to like the Girls Alliance that they solidified, what was it, the night before? But guess what? Christmas and Danny have both already spilled about the Girls Alliance to Tyler and Cody. It's so incredibly lame. Okay, so then Christmas starts telling Davon, I need Cadence to see her mama win. And Cadence is Davon's daughter. And Christmas says, you know, I don't play with like pulling kids into this game. She says, I will cut somebody when they try and leverage my child in this game. She says, that gets me worked up right now. And then in the same breath, she says, I want Cadence to see you win an HOH. You are bringing her kid into this. Like, what are you doing? Oh my God, I just can't. In the same breath. So Day says, you're my ally. I trust you. I trust that pact that we made up there. So she's also referring to the Girls Alliance. And like, I feel like this is bullshit. But she's playing along with Christmas right now because obviously she wants to stay in the game. And, you know, she's not going to have a good chance of doing that if she like freaks out at Christmas right now. So Christmas is telling Davon, like, I think you're going to have a chance to make it further in the game without Bailey here. Okay. So then Bailey is talking to Kevin. They're in the lounge. And she apologizes to him for being in the middle of all this because he's so close to Bailey and Davon. And Kevin's just happy to be getting some information at this point, right? So yeah, Bailey asks him, what do you want to know? So Kevin asks, who did Christmas say is her untouchable? Because Bailey says when she had this initial conversation with Christmas about Untouchables, this was not a one-sided thing. Like, yes, Bailey told Christmas that Davon is her Untouchable, but she says, you know what? Christmas told me that Ian is her Untouchable. And we know that Christmas was BSing when she said that, because Tyler is her actual Untouchable. I also want to mention here that Bailey, right before this conversation, was talking to Ian and was like, hey, Christmas said that you're her Untouchable, just so you know. And he was like, okay, thanks for telling me. So anyway, Kevin is shocked to hear that Christmas said it's Ian. So he's like, do you think that's for real? No. But Bailey says, I don't know. She was saying earlier that she thought maybe it could just be a distraction that Christmas is trying to throw out there. But she says, either way, Christmas threw Ian under the bus by saying his name. So then they're talking about how they felt like Christmas was kind of alone before, but that she's like solidified things with people this week. And, you know, she's been working with people all along, but they don't realize that. But now they're thinking that Christmas is working with Danny, Nicole, Tyler, Cody, and Ian, which is close. If you just swap out Ian for Memphis, you have the committee. I couldn't remember the name of their stupid alliance. You have the committee. Can you guys not hear me? Uh-oh. Can you guys still hear me? I'm seeing a lot of help in the comments. Guys? Oh, okay, people are saying refresh. Guys, if you can't hear me, please refresh. Refresh. I think it's on your end. I think we're good here. Okay, we're good. Okay. Sorry about that, guys. We just got a new modem today. But anyway, yeah, where are we? Bailey tells Kevin all about what happened with Tyler, because Tyler, you know, went to her and said, I want to go up on the block, blah, blah, blah. And Kevin didn't know about all this before. So Bailey says, I feel like this was all a big plan to trick me. And she's not happy about that. And Kevin says, yeah, it makes me hate that group, that big group that's working together, even more. I'm not Team Cody. Don't even joke about that. But yeah, he says it makes him hate that group even more. He feels like it's really cruel that he would do something like that. And he says that group is trying to make themselves look good and, you know, give them false hope. They did the same thing to Janelle, and then they go and laugh about it behind their backs, and that's not okay. And Kevin says this season is sick on a different level. Sometimes it really feels that way, doesn't it? Woo! Okay, so Bailey says that she and Day are not on the block because of that Untouchables conversation with Christmas, right? That's just an excuse. So she says, it's because of my situation with Tyler. And Davon just got dragged into it. Yeah, Tyler, Danny, Nicole, they were all gearing Christmas up to put Davon and Bailey up on the block, and Christmas was all too happy to do it. I remember her bragging like 2 weeks before how this was going to be like her mark that she's going to leave on the game, and it's going to be her big move. Ooh, that ain't it. Okay, so Davon joins them. There's more talk about what happened with Tyler, and Kevin says again, like, he's not buying what Tyler is selling. He says Tyler was just trying to cover himself so that he looks good to America. So I always want to call them Daly. Davon and Bailey explain how Tyler was saying that he knows they're playing for a greater cause, Black Lives Matter. And he said that he's an ally of the cause, and he doesn't want to sit back and watch this happen the same way that it does every season, right? So Day is saying if he used that as game, he's a piece of shit. And Kevin says, listen, ladies, Tyler knew that he was going to be safe before he made that offer. He says there's no way that Tyler would like sacrifice himself like that without knowing that he's safe. So yeah, Kevin, not convinced. Bailey says, I don't think that he used Black Lives Matter as gameplay, but if he did, that's just really dirty. And honestly, I don't think he did either. I think he was genuinely like, I want out of here. He found out that he couldn't do it. And then again, he handled it poorly after. If he had just told them before, like, I can't do it, this would have been completely different. So Day says the fact that Tyler made it about Black Lives Matter, that made her feel more confident that this was actually going to happen and he was serious about it. And Kevin says this is just the other side's way of like washing their hands of the situation and acknowledging like, wow, it's really messed up. Like, what's going on here? But I'm not a part of it. Like, I did something about it and whatever, like that kind of thing. So, meanwhile, Tyler and David are chatting in the HOH room, and David says, I already heard what happened from Bailey. Like, she already told me all this stuff. So Tyler's like, yeah, I felt really guilty about Bailey and Davon being on the block, so I was trying to take the bullet for them. But I guess I didn't have as much to do with it as I originally thought. He says, I wanted to heal things with Bailey so that I wouldn't have to deal with it for the next forever. Wow, the second part of that statement really like jumped out at me. Oh my God. Okay, at first I was like, wow, that's really nice. He wanted to heal things with her so that he wouldn't get harassed on social media. Not because he wants them to have a better relationship or anything. What? So he says, I tried too hard to make everything perfect. And David's like, man, I feel like a dumbass for making Bailey feel like she could trust you. Damn. Tyler says, she can't trust me. I thought that I was the reason that Christmas put her up on the block. And he says, I told them I would take the bullet for them, but I found out it's against the rules to do that. You can't just like try and get somebody to put you up on the block and tell everybody to vote you out. It's considered cheating. Or not cheating. It's considered quitting. And I'm sure they were like, yo, if you do this, you're not getting your $40,000. So think about it. So then Tyler says that Danny, he's explaining this whole situation to David. So he says, Danny was telling me that we need to get out Davon and Bailey. And I told Davon and Bailey about it, thinking that it would probably come back around and bite me because he was trying to like self-sabotage because he wanted to go before the jury started. And he says it didn't really come back around at first. I thought it was going to blow up more. But then Day and Bay, their attitudes really shifted towards Danny, and she caught on to that. And she was in Christmas's ear to put them up. But honestly, like Danny and Nicole were both trying to get Christmas to target Bailey for weeks. And it all started when Bailey made the infamous comment to Nicole about it taking Nicole a couple of tries and a couple of guys, right? To win and get her man. So that was when Nicole started being like, I think we should target Bailey, right? Okay, so Tyler says that Christmas, he was talking to her about her reasons for nominating them, and she told Tyler that she put Davon and Bailey up on the block because of something that Kaser said. Because before Kaser left, he was like, all right, if you want to take out this big group, you need to put up Danny and Tyler up on the block and then try and backdoor Cody. But Tyler said, yeah, Kaser told Christmas that they were going to put up Me or Christmas or something. It was not like, yeah, he said that they would put up Tyler, but not Christmas. So I don't know if Christmas told him that or if Tyler is just like trying to cover right here, but it's not true. So anyway, Tyler's like, I'm realizing I didn't really have a role in them going up on the block to begin with. And he says, I tried anyway to save them. And then I found out that Bailey did throw me under the bus to Danny. He says, I got effed over for trying to extend an olive branch. This explanation, the timing here is not right. And it feels like a load of BS. I feel like he's trying to do some major cover-ups right here. That's a lot. So David's like, okay, whatever. He asks about week 2 when Tyler told him that Day was trying to flip the votes on him when he was up on the block against Unicole. Remember Unicole? That feels like so long ago. So he was like, did you tell me that as a truth? Or was it an attempt to make me not trust Davon? And Tyler says, I told you that as a truth. He says, Danny was saying that to me, and I didn't know at the time, and I still don't know even if it's true or not. So I told you at the time that I wasn't sure, but that's what I was hearing. So then Tyler says, I was trying to self-sabotage with this whole Bailey and Davon thing and Danny because I wanted to go home before jury started. Back to Angela. So Tyler says, now I'm locked in. we're in jury and I have your back. Great. So David starts insisting, like, Tyler, you have a power. You have a power, don't you? Don't use your power against me. And Tyler's like, no. And Tyler doesn't have a power. But you know who does? David. So Tyler is swearing, I don't have one. I really was just like trying to go home. And that's what that is. So then David's like, all right, fine. Who would you put up if you win HOH? And Tyler says, probably Nicole and Danny. Danny is closer to Nicole than anyone else. Make sure I'm on the right page. And if Bailey, did tell Danny what I said to them, then Danny must have told Nicole. And neither of them came to me to ask if this information was true. So that's, that means they're coming after me. That's pretty sketchy that they didn't come and ask me about it. So Tyler's like, is that what you would do if you win? And David says, it's crossed my mind. We know that David is thinking about Memphis. I believe he said Cody, Danny. So like he's thinking about that whole group. So who knows what he would actually do. But anyway, David and Enzo were talking about the vote. And they both want to keep Bailey. Right now, the votes seem to be leaning towards Davon staying. But David and Enzo both want to keep Bailey. Enzo doesn't feel like the votes would be there. You need 5 to stay this week. So David's like, I don't know. I think we could flip the vote. We could campaign that Bailey is going to be a bigger target moving forward. And David is thinking we can get Kevin. He's thinking that Tyler is going to want to mend things with Bailey and maybe he'll vote to keep her. I don't think so. And Enzo is like, all right. He agrees that he's going to talk to people, try and feel people out, but he doesn't think that they're going to be able to get the votes realistically. All right. So then the house guests had their Labor Day celebration. Every time I see Labor Day, I think of Christmas because everybody's always like subbing in different holidays for her. But anyway, they have their celebration with their barbecue food and all that. And Bailey and Davon are alone in the backyard. And Bailey says, she kind of like messed up her game the first time around because she was into swaggy and, she wasn't focused on the game. And this time around, she paired up with Day. But she says, you know what? You were more valuable to me than this whole entire game. And that she was very emotional when she was talking about this. And she says, I'm fine with going home, just enjoying the rest of the summer. She doesn't even realize she's got a brand new Tesla waiting for her. Damn. But she says, I'm not going to try to fit into someone else's mold. It's not worth it to me. So Bailey says that Davon deserves to be there more than her. She says, this is your world. You've been watching the show since you were a kid. I got recruited off of Instagram. She says, I had never seen the show before 2 years ago. I came in, I got my husband, I'm good. Aw. Okay, so then she's telling Davon, you are the diary room queen, you're the meme queen, and for some reason, Big Brother cut the feeds. I don't know why, but anyway, a little later, Davon and Tyler were chatting in the lounge, and Day is like, what happened? What? I thought you were going to go up on the block. Like, what happened with the veto ceremony? And Tyler says that Christmas told him it wasn't good for her game to be backdooring someone this early. Okay. So obviously Tyler and Christmas want to hide that they're each other's untouchables. So Tyler tells Davon, you have my vote this week. And Davon's like, what? Why? And Tyler says, Bailey already gave me permission. She said that I should vote for you to stay. So Day asks, moving forward, what is it that you want to do? And Tyler's like, I don't know. I'm at a reset point now that we're in jury. I'm locked in, and I got you in the same way that I had you before. Cool. So Tyler clarifies. Well, okay, so Davon's asking him, like, when I asked you this morning if you were sure, like, that you still wanted to leave, you said yes. So Tyler clarifies, like, yeah, he did still want to leave. He was still sure about it. He didn't have second thoughts about leaving, but he was told that he couldn't do that. It's against the rules. Why didn't you tell them? You knew it before. Why didn't you tell them? So Day is like, well, I'm really glad that you've reset. I need you in this game. And Tyler's like, I need you in this game too. And I'm going to make sure that you stay this week. I'm sure you will, because Tyler does not want to spend any more time with Bailey, I'm sure. So then Bailey makes a campaign pitch to Ian. And she tells him, all right, I've specially tailored this for you. She says, I'm a big target. And that will take some attention off of you. She says, because I'm a big target, that's going to put more pressure on me to win competitions. Also, I don't have a power. So that's going to put even more pressure on me to win competitions. So Bailey says if she does win HOH, she already has some targets in mind that have come after her. I think it's pretty obvious who Bailey would be going after if she stays, right? So she says, I don't think that my targets would hurt your game. I think it would actually help you because you're friendly with a lot of people in this house, and it would be difficult for you to target certain people. You know, it'd be really tough for you. So I could do that for you. She says, I will look out for you. I will give you information, and you can do whatever you want with that information. So then she's saying, like, I've heard people drop your name. You know, everybody knows that you and Nicole are both winners. You're both super close to each other. I will be a target in front of you. You know, people are going to come after me before they come after you. So then Ian's like, all right, I got a few questions for you. Number one, who were you referring to in your power of veto speech? Because apparently in Bailey's speech, she was saying like she wants a certain person to sit next to her up on the block, and she didn't say who it was. She was talking about Tyler. So she lets Ian know I was talking about Tyler. And then she tells him all about what happened. You know, Tyler trying to pit her and Danny against each other, blah, blah, blah. He tried to like make it up to her, all this stuff. So then Ian's next question is, what is an untouchable? He's been hearing that word a lot, and he's not really sure. So Bailey tells him it is someone that you wouldn't vote out and you wouldn't nominate. So basically, it's a final two. So they were talking about like untouchables and blah, blah, blah. And then Bailey was talking about how she wants to see a black winner this season. And Ian's like, I respect it. I think that's awesome. And he says, you know, I'm with it. He wasn't going to vote out a person of color in the first two rounds. And I think Ian's heart is in the right place, but that just like doesn't sound right, that he's going to like just start going after them after that. And it's like, whatever happens, happens. I don't know. It just sounded weird, but I don't think he meant it in a bad way. But anyway, Ian is like, I'm going to be honest with you. I do percentages. That's my thing. He says, right now I am 60-40 leaning towards keeping Dave on. And Bailey says, you know what? I appreciate the honesty. And I'm cool with it. She says, I'm Dave's #1 fan, and I would not be upset if you vote for her to stay. Like, that's totally fine. So, yeah. So I mentioned to you guys that they had a Labor Day party yesterday. They had some alcohol, and apparently Christmas was passed out drunk in the backyard after the party. I gotta say, she woke up on the wrong side of the backyard because the rest of the night was a freaking mess. Okay. So Christmas was talking to Danny in the bathroom area, and she says, Bailey needs to check herself. Fate sealed. She says, I don't feel bad about putting Bailey up on the block anymore. She says, Bailey proved to me that she's an emotionally, it sounded like she said emotionally forward player. She had 2 chances to save herself this week, and now she's trying to get Tyler to go up and throw himself on her grenade. What? Tyler offered to go. Tyler said, put me up on the block, but sure, Bailey arranged that. So Danny's like, did Tyler try and get you to nominate him? And Christmas says, because of Bailey. She says it's because Bailey refuses to squash what happened between her and Tyler on their season. Oh my God. He wants to go home to Angela. So then Davon comes in, breaks up this conversation. The feeds go to other people for a few minutes, but then they come back to Christmas and Davon chatting in the bathroom area. And oh my God, buckle up. Okay, so we didn't see the beginning of this conversation, but from the retells that I heard later, it sounds like Christmas was asking Davon, like, how's Bailey doing? Is she okay? And Davon said, well, you know, Bailey may have felt that this move was kind of personal because she considers you a friend. And Davon says, we knew that someone would come after us at some point, but it cut Bailey a little more since it came from you. So then Christmas is like, well, it would have put me in a compromising position to put Tyler up on the block because he's her untouchable. So then Christmas is like, now for Bailey to shun me. And Davon's like, wait, but even though Tyler said that he wants to go, and Christmas says, that's not my cross to bear. And I totally agree. Like, she shouldn't have to put somebody up because somebody wants to go. Like, it would not benefit Christmas's game for Tyler to go. But the way that she's handling the situation, I don't blame Davon and Bailey for being confused, for being upset, because Christmas is given a lot of BS excuses to cover up that she's working with Tyler. So Day says, unless there was a plan for me or Bailey to go this week, it was almost like a gift was presented to you. She's talking about Tyler offering to go up on the block and leave. And Christmas is like, you guys may have seen it as a gift, but I see it as a burden. She says, you guys were already upset with me. And then if I put Tyler up on the block, it would confuse the house. Really? So Day says, okay, but Tyler was going to have a house meeting to explain it all and say that he wanted to go. So Christmas is like, well, if he's willing to go up on the block for her, then he should do that next week during nominations on somebody else's HOH. She says, I'm expected to execute what Bailey wants, and now she has an attitude with me. And Davon says, it's not what Bailey wanted. It's what he wanted. It's what Tyler wanted. So Christmas says, fine, he can do that next week. It's not my responsibility to put him up if he wants to go home. I'm not going to let him out that easy. Okay. So that, I mean, again, I'm saying I agree. It's not Christmas's responsibility to be like, okay, Tyler's going. But the way that she's been acting with Davon and Bailey this week, like, oh, I'm so upset that you guys are both on the block. Like, I don't want this. When she's the one that put them up, and then she has this opportunity to get rid of someone else and keep both of them, like, it's not going to be a good look to Davon and Bailey. Duh. So Christmas says, in order for her to put Tyler up on the block, Tyler would have needed to have the house meeting before the ceremony so that people wouldn't be confused about him going up. And Bailey needed to drop his name in her speech, which she didn't do. What the F? Like, she's coming up with the most ridiculous reasons. Oh my God, that's the best you could do. So Day is like, well, you've cried and you told Bailey that you wanted her here. You had the opportunity to keep her and you chose not to. So Christmas says, well, I know that Bailey would hold it against me no matter what, like if she stays. So she's telling Davon, you've had to convince her all week not to be mad at me. So then they talk about Untouchables and go through that whole thing again. Oh my God. And Christmas realizes, whoa, I'm getting heated right now. I need to like relax a little bit. And Davon's like, yeah, you do. Like, why are you talking to me like this? That's not cool. So then Day explains again why Bailey feels betrayed. And Christmas is like, never once did Bailey say to me that she wants to work with me. She says, we had scattered game talk. Personally, yes, we did talk a lot on a personal level, but game-wise, not as much. So Christmas says, Bailey told me that if I ever took a shot at her, she would not take it on a personal level, and now she's showing that she didn't mean that. So Davon says, you hurt the girl's feelings. You know, that's the bottom line, period. You like straight shooters? Let's cut the shit. You hurt her feelings. So Christmas says, well, the feeling is mutual now. Like, I'm upset that she's upset. And Davon's like, yeah, but she's upset because of what you did. So it doesn't make sense. But Day says Bailey had a moment of vulnerability with you, telling her who her Untouchable is because she wanted to try and work with you. And that was personal information. So then Christmas says, no, that was game info. And Day says it was personal game info. And then Christmas starts clapping her hands and saying, like, there's no such thing as personal game info. And things are starting to get heated now. They're both starting to raise their voices here. They're arguing about the difference between personal information and game information. And Day says, bottom line, Bailey trusted you and you exposed her. And Christmas is like, she didn't tell me that she trusted me, blah, blah, blah. So then Bailey starts walking into the bathroom at this point, and she's just like, what the hell is going on here? So Christmas says, I exposed her because you're a duo. She says you're her Untouchable. What the F am I supposed to do with that information? And Day's like, I'm going to walk away right now. Like, things are getting too heated. Davon does not want to be involved in this. So Day is leaving the bathroom. Christmas is saying goodnight to her. And Day is like, I'm not going to bed. And Christmas says, like, okay, we'll have a good night. And Day's like, don't goodnight me. I'm not going to bed. Like, I'm walking away. I'm getting out of here. So then Christmas starts, like, yelling at Bailey. And Bailey's like, whoa, you need to bring it down. Okay, I just came out of the diary room. I have no idea what's going on here. I have no idea what I just walked into. And Christmas is like, you know what? You're right. I'm, like, all amped up right now. She says, I'm not trying to be aggressive with you. I'm just excited. And it's because we effing love you. What? Okay, anyway. Bailey says, she's giving pretty much the same explanation that Davon was giving before. She said, I was vulnerable with you on a game level. Like, I shared with you who my Untouchable is in this game, and I felt like you took advantage of me. And Davon also felt like you took advantage of me, and she is allowed to feel that way. So she says, you used me to get ahead in the game, and all I can say is good game move. And I just want to note, Bailey is, like, very calm during this. And then as Christmas and Bailey are still talking in the bathroom area, Davon went outside and she's trying to cool off, and she's very emotional right now. She's crying in the backyard. I gotta say, like, it was so difficult to watch this, and I was crying right along with her because you could just hear the pain and the frustration in Davon's voice, and it was so upsetting. So Day was saying, if I cuss her out, everyone's gonna blame me. Why does she get to talk to me like that? I did nothing to that girl. And Tyler was like, no, it's fine. You're fine. Relax. It's okay. So then back in the bathroom area, Christmas is still talking about the separation of personal information and game information. And Bailey's like, okay, that's fine. That's fine that you think that. But, you know, me and other people, like, we're still allowed to be upset about that and to, you know, to feel like our feelings are hurt about that. So then Christmas starts crying that Bailey can't separate personal and game. And Bailey's like, no, you don't get to play victim in this situation. You used me, and you know you used me. So then Christmas starts walking away, and Bailey follows her. And Christmas turns around, and Christmas yells, I didn't use you. So Christmas starts putting her fingers in Bailey's face. It's inappropriate. And Christmas is like, you told me information. And Bailey's like, you need to back up. You need to get your fingers out of my face. Like, I'm talking to you calmly right now. And I will say, she had a raised voice, but she wasn't, like, screaming. And she was only raising her voice, I think, because Christmas was yelling. But anyway, she wasn't, like, whatever. So anyway, Christmas says, you came at me. I wouldn't, no. Okay, she was walking out of the bathroom after Christmas, but she wasn't, like, attacking Christmas. So then Christmas is like, F off, Bailey, and she walks away. And Bailey's like, you need to stop with all of this, because I can't do that to you, because I would be labeled as something crazy. And she's right. If Bailey freaked out like that, Can you even imagine what the reaction would be like? Oh my God. So then Christmas starts clapping and she's like, there's a difference between gay and personal, blah, 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 blah. And she's going on and on about it. And Bailey says, please don't do that. I did not treat you like that. So why are you treating me this way? Why are you treating me without respect? Like, it's not okay. So Christmas just keeps clapping. She's saying, good game, Bailey. And Day comes inside to get Bailey. She takes her outside. And Bailey's asking, what the F did I do? Why is Christmas being like this? And Day said, you did nothing. And she betrayed you. She betrayed you, and she's mad about it. So then Day and Bailey are outside. Day is telling her all about what she missed while she was in the diary room, all about the conversation with Christmas in the bathroom. And meanwhile, Christmas is ranting to Kevin and Danny in the kitchen. She's like, I never said anything personable about Bailey other than how wonderful she is. You sure about that? And of course, Danny was like, I have never heard you say anything bad about Bailey on a personal level ever. Of course, Danny would say that. So Christmas says, do not leverage this to make me look like an effing bully. She says, she told me who her ride or die is. This is a game. When you have couples like that, you effing take them out. She says, I'm not going to do her dirty work to take Tyler out. You wanted it. So then back outside, Day is talking about how Christmas won a punk-ass HOH because she missed the question, not because Christmas got it right. She says, effer. Are you kidding me? Thank you. Right? Okay, so then Day and Bailey go back inside, and they are heading back towards the bathroom. And Christmas has her back to them, but she is freaking watching them in the mirror like a freaking straight up psycho. It was ridiculous. It was like really creepy. But Kevin says to Christmas, I think you should go in the HOH room. And Christmas is like, no, absolutely not. I live here too. I can go wherever the F I want. So then Bailey is escorting Davon to the diary room. And Day is like, I'm back. And Christmas is like, here we go again. So Day's like, shut the F up. And Christmas says, I don't have to. And Bailey's like, stop adding fuel. Stop adding fuel to the fire. Just stop it. Bailey is pulling Davon away. And Day is like, you wanted to provoke me? I'm provoked. And she's getting pulled away by Bailey. It just felt like an iconic moment in the making to me. I don't know. So then after Davon is in the diary room, Bailey's going back outside. She passes by Christmas and she's like, this is unnecessary. We don't have to do all that. And Christmas agrees, like, yeah, this is unnecessary. So then after that, whew, my goodness, Christmas continues to complain that she is being bullied here. She felt attacked. I didn't know that there was a Karen in the house this season. Is there another house guest in here? Karen, what? Okay, I'm sorry, but Christmas was not getting attacked. So anyway, later, Danny, Cody, and Nicole were talking about how insane Christmas looked through all of that. They agreed, like, Bailey's allowed to be upset. She's up on the block. And Nicole says, Christmas is going to look bad after all that. Yeah, I'm really curious what the edit's going to be like on this. So then, throughout the night, people are reassuring Davon and Bailey that they handled the situation well. And Nicole and Danny were telling Day, like, you should still be good this week. You should still have the vote, so don't worry about that. And Davon let them know, like, she's still down to work with them, but not Christmas. Okay? Like, that Girls Alliance with Christmas, not happening anymore. Duh. So then I think at one point, Davon was talking to Bailey, and she said she's thinking about saying in her eviction speech on Thursday that Christmas has a power because she was standing next to her when Christmas put her like icon thing in the podium and she knew it was her. So yeah, she suspects that she has power. That would be epic. So then today, Christmas is still talking about Untouchables to anyone that will listen. It really at this point seems like she's just trying to justify her moves this week. And it seems like she's now freaking out that she's going to look racist on the show because I think she overheard Day say last night that Christmas thought she was making a big move by putting up the 2 black girls. So now Christmas is like freaking out that that's how it's going to be perceived. So yeah, it's been wild. But anyway, the eviction is in 2 days. As of right now, Davon is staying. I think it'll probably stay that way. I mean, you never know what could happen. It could end up flipping, but at this point, Davon is staying. I just have to say, I feel like they should not have invited Christmas back. I mean, she freaking drove her car into another person's car on purpose.
Oh, that's not allowed?
Yeah. So I don't know. I feel like it was a mistake to bring her back. Bowie, hello. Okay. So I want to thank you all so much for chatting, for watching. I feel like I couldn't read the chat obviously during this, but I feel like
raunchy.
some of you guys were getting a little bit wild in there, and I hope you are respectful of each other. And me. Like, don't talk shit about me in my own chat. Or if you do, actually, I don't care. Like, say whatever you want about me, but like, don't talk shit about each other because it's not cool. And I want to thank all of our super chatters today because you guys are freaking awesome. And we could not do this without you. So I want to thank Jody Cortez. Thank you so much. Thrifty Babes, thank you so much. Smouth Dude Smooth, thank you so much. Maricela Castellanos, thank you so much. Richard Fleming, thank you so much. Everything Horror, thank you so much. Troval K, thanks so much. Tara Perucci, thank you so much. S. Dean, thank you so much. Jefferson Tucker, thank you so much. Nancy Cowden, thank you so much. Amanda Kenny, thank you so much. Hoth1, thank you so much. The Real VB, thank you so much. And M. Murray COJ, thank you so much. You guys are awesome. We really couldn't do it without you.
Yeah, big up yourself.
Yeah. All right. So we will see you guys tomorrow.
Yes.
Hopefully it will not be as tense.
Don't give them alcohol.
Yeah, right? I don't know if alcohol is a good idea at this point. But anyway, we'll see you all tomorrow. So until then, much love.